All right, people, welcome back to another stream. Let's get this thing started, shall we? It's been a minute. Here, let me get some things queued up here. Let me go to wait. Why is it? Oh, wait. That's the button I'm looking for. Duh. Hello. Hi, people. How we doing? Welcome back to another one. I thought what we would do today is we have not talked. Hold on, let me double check my audio. Yeah, we're good. We're good on the audio side for the most part. Okay. Sweet. Welcome back, everybody. We have not talked about. I mean, we've given a couple movie reviews this year and in recent videos. I mean, I gave my thoughts on Stranger Things. I gave my thoughts on Iron Lung. And one thing that I've wanted to do with this YouTube channel, but I haven't done it as consistently as I've wanted to. But one thing that I've wanted to do is when I go see a movie and when a movie comes out, I wanted to do exactly what I did with Iron Lung, where it's like, okay, let's for the next hour and a half, let's talk about the movie, let's dissect it a little bit. Let's look at some things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and just kind of give an overall review because I've kind of gotten to that point where, to try to be super analytical, tight cuts, and like try to be entertaining to a certain point. Like sometimes it's like, bruh, I don't have like a day and a half, 2 days to edit a video and make a video compelling enough to be like, hey, here are some humor, here are some jokes or something that I have that I can just throw with some images or scenes from a movie to crack some jokes. But what I thought I would do today is I wanted, because we haven't had the Oscars yet, and the original title that I had for this video that I wanted it to be was have we talked about the Oscars yet, question mark. But it was an open-ended question because we know the answer, and the answer is no. I have not sat on my YouTube channel yet and been like, hey, let's talk about the 2026 nominations. But we did this video last year where I talked about some of my personal favorite movies of the year. I think I gave a little bit of insight on like how I thought about some of the movies who I thought got snubbed, who didn't get snubbed. And I just kind of, from what I can remember, we looked at the nominations and we took a little deep dive into it, and I just kind of give my thoughts. And so I thought, you know what, why not? We're in the season of, award shows and everybody's doing victory laps and stuff. And so right now I thought, let's take a look back on the year that was 2025 in films and movies. And I'm really interested to, we might, well, Emmys, right? Emmys are the ones that are TV shows, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think we've come to a unique point where a real argument online is what is more popular, a TV show or a movie? Because right now, like the impact of movie and TV shows, like there are a couple movies, and when we look through them, it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember when that came out, because there were some movies that were pretty, big. And first one off the bat that I can think of is Sinners. This movie was pretty impactful this year. But some things that I was thinking of is we've kind of gotten to a situation where not a lot of people, like, it's hard to put butts in seats for movies. And what I'm curious about, sorry, I'll scratch my eye, is have we gotten to a point where, because I kind of remember this conversation a little bit, where when Game of Thrones was really popular, which I'm going to be talking about Game of Thrones in 2 seconds, so hold on to that thought. But when Game of Thrones was really popular, The Walking Dead was really popular, Breaking Bad, of course. There was kind of a, okay, what's more influential, and what, Sons of Anarchy as well, where it's like, okay, what's more culturally, like, what's not cooler, but like what's more talked about, these or movies around the same time in that 2010 to 2015 range of like, I'm thinking randomly of like Ant-Man or Tom Cruise's Edge of Tomorrow, or let's think of a Disney movie, Wreck-It Ralph or Tangled, one of those, or Brave. One of those movies came out sometime around that year too, and around that time. And all of this to say, coming back to what my original thought and statement was, is we've definitely hit a unique time where if only 15-ish okay decent movies came out in a whole calendar year, but then we turn and go, yeah, there are about 30 decent and really good TV shows. It's like there's parts of me that think the streaming wars is being won right now, and that's what draws attention for viewership. Again, I could be wrong, but like, and when we're talking about Game of Thrones, because it's like, here we go, this is why I was talking about Game of Thrones, and I'm going to bring it up, is everybody has been kind of talking, because it's been floating and it's been circling my feeds. Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, I believe that's what it's called. Let me double check what it's called. It's like HBO Knights of the a night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yes, because it's kind of a, not a spin-off, but it's part of the Game of Thrones universe, but not like House of the Dragon is a prequel, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Which, this is the cool wallpaper that I have set up when we go through and look at some of the nominations, because I don't know everybody who's nominated yet. So look at this fun wallpaper. Set this up. This is what's taken me a little bit to get the stream ready, and so sorry about that, guys. Like this, I will admit, this is a very late stream, but I thank you guys for hanging out, and I thank you guys for watching. If you guys are watching wherever you might be watching, so thank you. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's talk about some things. But yeah, those were some opening remarks that I had on kind of my thoughts and plans on this stream, and what the purpose of this is we have not talked about movies. We haven't talked about TV shows as much as I've wanted to. And with the award shows right around the corner, I was like, let's get into it. Let's talk about movies a little bit. And so, yeah, that is my thoughts on that. Because it'd be real cool to, Iron Lung just came out. I'm trying to think of the Project Hail Mary. Trying to think of any other big movies, quote, big movies coming out. Okay, hello, duh, everybody's talking. Wuthering Heights, for example, everybody's talking about that movie right now. Am I gonna go see it? No. It's a chick flick. It's more centered towards the ladies, and so it's like, okay, it's good. I don't want to go watch smut. It's all right. I'll skip this time. But for example, some other movies. There was the Bone Temple. If you're a fan of, oh my gosh, I don't know why I couldn't think of Joe Keery, but Cold Storage. Hoppers looks pretty fun. Like I talked about, Project Hail Mary, Michael Jackson movie. If you're a huge Christian Bale fan, Bride. So there's a couple of good movies. So I wanted to do, and then the summer slate of The Odyssey and Spider-Man. So those are some, I'm looking at it right now. These are some other really big films that are coming out this year. But let's get into it now. Let's talk about some of the nominations, because again, this is all I figured Michael B. Jordan would be here. And the reason why I figured Michael B. Jordan would be here is because Sinners obviously was a very good movie. But I have no clue on to who got nominated where or with what. And so I thought we'd start with actors in a leading role, and then as we scroll down, go all the way down to the bottom, very last, visual effects, writing for original screenplay, we could. There could be a couple categories where it's like skip. Like, for example, whichever one is the one about, because hey, I'm gonna take a take a shot here and a little gander. Whichever is a costume design or like set design, whichever award goes for that, and it's the ones of like the immersion of, you know, set or on location with, you know, the wardrobe department, whatever that category is called, I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's going to go to Wuthering Heights. Like, let's be real, because I think, because this was the other thing that I figured out in another stream, is that the window for the Oscars is not actually January to December. It's Oscars to Oscars. I didn't know that. I like it's because there. That's why like the term summer blockbuster is a thing. Or I had no clue about that. I learned that out last ish year or something. Where it's like, because I mean I think there was one movie I watched. Was it Iron Claw? It might have been Iron Claw, where it was like, why the hell is Zac Efron not even nominated, or, you know? And it's like, oh, well, because they missed the window. And so it's going to have to be for next year, because, like, Boys in the Boat, Iron Claw, there was a lot of good films that came out around that Christmas time. None of them got nominated. And it's because it missed that window. But then if you wait a whole calendar year to be nominated for a movie that came out over a year, like, you see what I mean? Anyways, so let's talk about actors in a leading role. We got Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme, which I talked about this last year. I think he got snubbed for not. I don't think he was nominated for playing Paul Atreides in Dune 2, which we're talking about big films coming out this year. Dune Part 3 is coming out this year. So we got Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent. If honestly, I don't think it's going to go to Leo, and the only reason why is because Leo is kind of like Al Pacino, where gets nominated all the time and doesn't win. Like, which that's been popping up in my feed too. Like the streak that Pacino had of losing the Oscars until he won it. Like he lost 7 in a row. But I mean, to compare One Battle After Another to The Revenant, like we've seen Leonardo DiCaprio's best work. You know what I mean? And I don't know. But if he does, I mean, it is what it is. I would lean towards it's probably going to go towards Timothy Chalamet or Michael B. Jordan. I would lean more personal preference, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Like it was a damn good film, and like the fact not only because I kind of this is how I felt too about Cynthia Erivo, and I think she got snubbed too for not being nominated. Is there's kind of the way I look at it is if you can sing, dance, and act, there's parts of me where it's like, that's the trifecta, dude. And if you can secure that. Now, Michael B. Jordan doesn't, spoiler alert, he doesn't sing in Sinners. You know, there's no, you know, he's not the one singing, it's the other guy. But, like, yeah, he, with Wicked and how they're singing, dancing, and all that, Cynthia Erivo didn't end up winning it. The other, Mickey, for the Norma, anyways, but she ended up winning it. But with I think the fact that he played 2 characters in one, because Smoke and Stack both have different compelling, you know, traits as their characters, I would argue and be like, hey, you gotta give it to him. But then other things with just how every single project Timothy Chalamet is in, he goes balls to the wall. So I would put it between one of these two. I never saw Blue Moon and I never saw The Secret Agent. So who knows? Ethan Hawke could be laughing all the way, you know, and be like, hey, look at this. I got an Oscar. So we'll see there. But if I had to make a prediction, probably Michael B. Jordan. It'd be cool to see him win that. I like just the way. The other thing that I noticed too is, like everybody. I feel like people talked about Marty Supreme a lot, and then like after about a week or two, because it came out like in that Christmas window, where after it was gone, nobody talked about it anymore. But like Sinners, it kind of feels like Sinners. People talked about Sinners until like the summer with like Superman and, you know, Fantastic Four, which, I mean, it is a stretch. Could you put David Cornsweet on this list for being Superman? Maybe. But again, like, I think there should be a category, and I think I've talked about this before, where, because we're going to talk about box office, but we're also going to talk about superhero films. Lots of people have talked about how it should be in a category of its own, just because, I mean, you look at, I mean, some of the more legendary superhero films that have come out recently, like, to this day, probably in the last 10-ish years, the best superhero movie that's come out is Infinity War. You know what I mean? Now, is it as good as Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight? No, absolutely not. But, like, if it was to compete with, like, box office wide of everything else that came out that year, wasn't Infinity War the highest grossing film that year? And then I think it almost got caught by Bohemian Rhapsody, but that didn't come out till the December window. I could be wrong. Anyways, all right, let's go down here to actor in a supporting role. So we have Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. This one's going to go to Jacob Elordi, because lots, and I mean lots of people were talking about this. Frankenstein was one of those films that I do remember when it came out, a lot of people talked about, which I almost feel bad that I'm not even bringing up I came a little bit prepared, because, you know, I had a little bit of preparation, and I was going to show and give my own thoughts and reactions and reviews to some of the movies, because, I mean, you got it when you're doing reviews. Did I lose my freaking... Oh my gosh, I think I left my freaking water. Sorry guys, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. Alright, sorry people. Sorry about that. I thought I had my water with me on the... Oh my... Sorry, whoops. I thought I had my water with me on the side table. Where were we? Oh, yes, we were talking about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Now, I remember when this film came out, the discourse around it was, this is why streaming and movies are a battle and an argument, because I don't think this came out in theaters. Let me double check. Like, I think it was exclusively, it didn't even get the Stranger Things treatment. Let me... Frankenstein. Because I don't think, or maybe if it did get the Stranger Things movie theater treatment, it got it in select theaters. Well, slap my ass. Apparently, it's still. There's no freaking way. There is no way. No, because when I went and saw. Okay, that is some. That's some horseradish. When I went and saw Iron Lung, this movie was not in any of the posters. I call a little bit of a BS there. But I remember when it dropped on Netflix, a lot of people were like, you should go see this in a movie theater. This should have been released in a movie theater, which there's parts of me that agree to that. There's something that I don't think streaming can replicate. And Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Joe Rogan talked about this a little bit on their podcast and stuff. That with streaming, it's a night and day difference between going to the theaters, because when you go to the theaters, it's more of an event and it's more of an experience versus, oh hey, I gotta take a piss halfway through the film, and oh well, will you look at that, I forgot, oh wait, I need you to remind me what the plot was again, because I need you to remind me the plot every 5 minutes, because I'm not paying attention, I'm looking at my phone. So anyways, let's go here, let me show y'all. So let's get back to it. So, yeah, Benicio del Toro, and One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, and Frankenstein, which his name's going to be here again next year for Wuthering Heights. Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn in One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Never saw this one. I have never heard of this one. Well, maybe I have. Let me go look. I'm going to go proofread real quick. Let's make sure I'm not popping up anything where it's like, whoa. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Fanning's in it. Okay. I've seen posters of this. Okay. All right, back to it. So, actor in a supporting role. Parts of me says it goes to Jacob Elordi or Benicio del Toro. That's just me. All right, actress in a leading role. Here we go. We got Jessie Buckley in Hamnet. Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I'd Kick You in the Bulls. Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue. I'm gonna butcher this. Renate. Oh my gosh, I'm blowing this. I just butchered that name. Sorry, peeps, I butchered that name. And then Emma Stone in Bugonia. Hate to say it. It's going Emma Stone. Not that Kate Hudson or Rose Byrne or anybody else didn't have any. Like, it's kind of... You remember a handful of years ago when... let me look. 2022. Let me look. No. It's 21. No, maybe... Shit, maybe it was The Whale. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking of this year. This is more recent. Like it's happened multiple times. Um, because again, no. Oh, okay. Okay, two back-to-back years. And, listen and hear me out here. You have the biggest film of the year that almost made and grossed $1 billion. Oppenheimer did not. Barbie did, but Oppenheimer did not. Which, in fact, I think Margot Robbie. See, this is this. I'm not saying this is what proves that this is all a joke, but I mean, Margot Robbie didn't. And I know it's kind of a satirical comedy because it is the Barbie movie, but again, you have to talk about box office a little bit and the fact that Barbie movie made $1 billion and Margot Robbie didn't even get nominated. It's like, what the fuck? But she'll probably get nominated next year for Wuthering Heights. But anyways, um, I bring this up because you look at all the actors in the leading role for this year in particular. It's going to Cillian Murphy because he played Oppenheimer in a Christopher Nolan film that made almost $1 bajillion. Like he's gonna. So when I look at, let's fast forward here to 2026. When I look at actresses in a leading role, Emma Stone. You know what I mean? I might be wrong. Supporting role. Um, ooh. Ooh. I don't know if they'd go the horror route because they didn't go the horror route last. I'm looking at one of these two. I'm looking at. Well, it could also go to. It's probably going to go to Elle Fanning. Now that I'm. Yeah, it's probably going to go to Elle Fanning. Okay, animated feature film. Arco. Elio. Oh, it needs to go to K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, Elio was fun. Zootopia 2, you could argue and be like, man, Pixar and Disney, they lost their fastball. Why do we need another sequel? To the argument of, can you sing, dance, and act? Are any of the songs in any of these movies being played on the radio? Yes, I'm talking about the earworm that is Golden, because it's you find it everywhere in TikTok shorts and all of that. So, and with how much everybody was talking about it too, around the time that it came out, and how anime is kind of growing in popularity and stuff, and it's not, oh, you're not weird for liking anime, kind of how it is now, versus, if you ask someone 10 years ago, hey, do you watch Dragon Ball Z? You'd be like, no, but you wouldn't say it out loud. Like, yeah, you would, but anyways. So I'd probably say K-pop Demon Hunter probably wins animated feature film. If not, I don't know what this is. I'll go look up what Arco is, because I don't think Elio would win it, because here, let me look up. What? The reason why I don't think Elio would win it is because Inside Out didn't win it last year, and Inside Out 2 is actually pretty decent. Look at other animated movies. Nah, whatever. Forget. This Arco. I've never heard of Arco. But Zootopia 2 would be kind of like, okay, fine. So I'll probably say K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay. Animated short film. Never heard of any of these. Alright, casting. Casting would probably be who is in the film. Yeah. It's either going to go to Marty Supreme or Sinners, because there's a lot of good actors in both films. I don't know. All right, back to cinematography. Oh, here we go. Cinematography. This is the one. This is the immersive, correct? Cinematography is the art or craft of capturing movie images or film and television, blending technology with artistic. Oh, okay. So, this is either going to go to Dan Loston for Frankenstein, or Autumn Doral Arkapaw. Sorry, I butchered that. Because I would say cinematography, it would blend, because there's the realism. Like, is there some CGI shots in Marty Supreme? Yeah. Have you seen the opening scene? Like, what forms the ping pong ball? You know what I mean? Like, there's those kind of shots. But for other grounded in realism movies that came out last year, like F1. Which, by the way, bro, talking about snubs here. Where the hell's Brad Pitt? He's in the thumbnail. Whoops, didn't even get there. But all right, I would. I'd lean more towards Frankenstein, and the only reason why I'd lean a little bit more towards Frankenstein than Sinners is because for the whole movie, well, oh, this is a tough one actually. Because for the majority of Sinners, it's pretty normal and mellow, where like it takes place in the barn and stuff, and there's cool set designs and cinematography there. But like with Frankenstein, it's like you're seeing the monster for the majority of the film, and like he's in the prosthetics and the makeup the whole time. Versus for the second half of Sinners, oh, look at this jump scare of holy cow, they're floating all of a sudden. Here we go. Because that was spooky. Costume design. If Fire and Ash is sitting in here and sneaking in here, it's probably going to go to Avatar. Because there's parts of me that wonder, like, is Butterfly going to win? Arco? Or this might be alphabetical order. Anyways, costume design. Yeah, I'd probably give it to Frankenstein or Sinners. Directing. Dude, F1 is still not on here. You're kidding me. Oh, okay. Hamnet by Chloe Zhao. Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. Sentimental Values for Joachim Trier. Or Ryan Coogler. Ooh. Ooh. Let's see if I know any more of his films. I feel like I know a little bit more of Coogler and his movies. Let's go look. Oh, here we go. Okay. He did Uncut Gems. Good Time. This is the film that kind of got Robert Pattinson back on the. Yeah, let me bring it back up here. Good Time, arguably, I would say, is the movie that got Robert Pattinson back on the map. Not that he ever left, but I would think this movie leads to Lighthouse, which leads to Tenet, which leads to Batman. You know what I mean? Because before, I mean, gosh, when was the last Twilight movie? Twilight last movie 2012. So then 5 years later, like, not a lot of people thought Robert Pattinson was the real deal. It was a good actor, because a lot of people looked at it and went, he's just Sparkle Boy from Twilight. So all right. Ooh, let's look at Brian Coogler films. He's got a couple good ones. I like the little side-by-side comparison. Black Panther, Creed, Sinners. Oh, okay. 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 He might be beat out here. Yeah. 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 Ooh, X-Files reboot gets pilot order. All right. Either one. Yeah, either one. All right, documentary feature film. I don't know any of these, so we'll just keep moving. Documentary short film. Don't know anybody. Film editing. Okay. This one's probably going to go to F1. I am surprised that F1 only got nominated for that. Well, and if you've watched, I mean, a lot of another big thing too on why I brought up F1 is because parts of me wanted to talk about this film, and I wanted to give it some praise and talk about my favorite scenes and everything I liked about the movie. Because I would say it was, yeah, it's probably my favorite movie of last year. Because I'll show you. We'll probably just because of how this stream has gone so far, we're probably gonna blitz through all the nominees and all my thoughts on every single movie. How long have we been? Okay. Anyways, so film editing. So it can go to F1. Sorry, my headphones are acting up. F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Parts of me think, though, that Marty Supreme's not going to go home empty-handed, and neither is One Battle After Another. So I can see in, the film editing or not directing, but like costume design, cinematography, casting. I can see this be the one where casting Marty Supreme wins it, so that later down the line here in film editing, F1 can win. Instead of being like, oh, sorry, Marty Supreme, your film came out way too late in the year, so you don't get to win anything. All right. I don't know any of these movies. Live action from no clue. Makeup and hairstyle. Here we go. The Smashing Machine. Ooh. Yeah. They did a real good job at transforming The Rock. Okay. That is why I think this could probably win. And again, I didn't, this was not premeditated. I didn't know who was nominated and what category or where. But like, let me show you the Smashing Machine. Obviously, you know it's The Rock because I said it's The Rock. But like, this doesn't look like The Rock. This doesn't look like The Rock. I mean, it does. Obviously, it is The Rock. But, like, just the way... Yeah. This is another good one. Here, let me do this one. Because when we do a quick comparison to... I mean, again, makeup team doing a good job. The prosthetics, which I don't know. I think The Rock lost a shitload of weight for this film. I could be wrong. Oh, again, look at that. Like, again, pretty damn good, all things considered. Anyways, I don't know how much, YouTube sometimes gets a little, hey, we're seeing too many boy nipples around here. Even though it's like, it's a boxing movie, relax. Yeah, let me think. right? Look at this, because look, like just because there he is normally versus, yeah. Sorry, I just had to show this because it was popping up too. All right. Anyways, let's get back to what we were looking at. What were we looking at? Makeup and hairstyling, yes. So then Frankenstein, Smashing. So yeah, either Frankenstein or the Smashing Machine, just because, again, Oscar Isaac's co-star with him, he's dressed up as the monster the whole time. Music. I'm surprised F1 again. Surprised F1 is not nominated for this category. Um, I haven't heard the Begonia soundtrack at all. Um, I do like the main theme original. Oh, hold on. Golden's probably gonna win that one. Um, the do 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 of like F1 during the race, like it's good. But I would say, has he won any Oscars? This could be, again, probably between Frankenstein and Sinners. Which I know this sounds so bad because it's like we're overlooking one battle after another in Hamnet, because I don't think I've thought they've won anything, but like last year there was a lot of awards that were won where I was like, oh my gosh, didn't see that coming. So, all right, Best Picture. Here we go. Begonia, F1, Frankenstein. Again, so where? Interesting. Okay, I'm interested at how. So does that mean like if you drop a movie on Paramount Plus or Apple, can it still be considered and nominated for Best Picture? The like genuine question. Don't mean this like facetiously. Like, oh come on, it didn't have an original. It can't win an Oscar. It didn't release in the movies. Um, I'm wondering what, because if that's the direction that like we're gonna go, um, if like let's say, because like if you've been following movies or like pop culture, one of the bigger discussions that's been going on is like who's gonna buy Warner Brothers, who's like, for example, if Warner Brothers makes a film, but like they release it because of the partnership of Netflix and it doesn't get a theatrical release, could it still be nominated? Um, like where, you know what I mean? I know that's such like a stupid, weird technicality question that I'm asking. I only ask because I don't think, like I could have sworn Frankenstein didn't get rid, because if I would have known it got released in the theaters, I most likely would have saw. I saw it was on Netflix, and that's where I first. Anyways, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent. We haven't said this one. Sentimental Values, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I want F1 to win it. And if not F1, give me the Minecraft movie. I think it's hard to like going all the way up for Michael B. Jordan to win Best Actor. Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Like, sweeps are hard and they don't happen. I don't think a Sinners sweep would happen. I don't think that's happening. And so, ooh, it's probably it might. I want it to go to F1. I want it to go to F1 because I enjoyed F1 the most. But if it doesn't go to F1, because I know a lot of people were a little upset with what won Best Picture last year. If we're going to go that route, it's going to go to Begonia. Um, but I would say it goes to F1, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, or Sinners. Not enough people talked about One Battle After Another. Never even heard of The Secret Agent. And I think you also have to look a little bit into box office as well. Like, but not all the way, because if it was up to box office, I got news for you. Let me tell you who wins it. It's the Minecraft movie, which is so silly. Which is why I think box office should be a category of its own, where it's like, yeah, let's give praise a little bit and congratulate the movies that made the most money. Because, dude, the Minecraft movie made like $1 billion, or close to, maybe like 800 range, because it made enough money to greenlight a sequel. Let me look at mine. Yeah, opening week. Dude, oh my gosh. Opening weekend, $313 million. Like, this is so, yeah. See, it just, because again, when, like, there's parts of me that do think in the, you guys didn't see, my bad. It's cropped out a little bit. Yeah, 313 and then 163 over here in the States. This is domestic opening. You can't see it because I shrunk it down a little bit, but it talked about the 550 after the total gross as April. So as of early April 2025, this isn't even for the rest of the calendar year, 550. So, yeah. Well, and then I like how it talked about this, largest domestic opening since Deadpool and Wolverine. Because again, there's parts of me that think if we're gonna go the route of let's congratulate and let's talk about box office, I mean, I was on board with Hugh Jackman being nominated playing Wolverine because I thought he did pretty well. I thought, like, there were moments of the movie and the film where, like, he showed his acting talents rather than just, I'm Logan, I slash people up, you know what I mean? And I'm just a brooding, X-Men mutant with my quipster, loudmouth, vulgar, sidekick, Wade. So, anyways. Yeah, I have no clue who's going to win Best Picture. No clue. I'd like to see F1 though. F1 or Sinners. All right, production design. Don't know. Sound. Ooh, okay. I will say this. If F1 doesn't win anything, I mean, come on. You would at least have to, with the fact that they were, Lost Bus might get visual effects. No, this one's going to Avatar, considering the majority of the film is visual effects. Yeah, this one's going there. The only reason why for sound mixing going to F1 is the fact that hello, they're driving the F1 cars. This wasn't some, hey, we're out and about, we're just having fun, pretend and act like you're driving, yay. Like, there's actual, like, train driver, like, and the shots too of the F1 cars and the sound of the as they're, like, it's cool. I know, I'm a simple dude. You give me a good film to watch that's pretty entertaining, I like it. Writing for an adapted screenplay. I could see this going to Begonia or Frankenstein. Writing original screenplay, so its own thing, Marty Supreme. Definitely going to Marty Supreme. Because again, if nothing else, if uh, if Marty Supreme hadn't won, or Sentimental Value, if they hadn't won this shit all night, one of these three will win. Because it's like, okay, fine, we'll give you something. Because yeah, this was interesting. Let me look back at 2025. Because last year, my thoughts last year for actor in a leading role, um, I said it should go to Timothy Chalamet, but not for A Complete Unknown. It should have been for Dune Part 2. Um, and I said, yeah, Dune Part 2, you could give it to Sebastian Stan, or, yeah, I said Hugh Jackman for Wolverine. But the Adrian Brody with the Brutalist, we're good there. Um, Actor in a supporting role, I think I said Edward Norton. Could be wrong. Actress in a leading role, again, I said it should go to Cynthia Erivo. It did not. Actress in a supporting role, I think I said Zoe Saldana. Or no. I said Ariana Grande because the Wicked. Yeah. Anyways, animated feature film. I said Inside Out too, and I think it went to Flow. Cinematography, yeah, I said it should have gone to Dune, and it didn't. Because again, Dune is a. There are a couple things I've given a little bit of advice on. One is if you haven't watched hockey, go watch hockey. Go watch college football. But the other one is Dune is a Dune's a pretty good film. Directing. I think I picked The Substance for this one because, or The Brutalist, because yeah, I went to a Nora. Anyways, film editing. Anyways, I don't remember, but where is? So that's that. That's everybody. Let's talk now about. So those are the nominees and those are the nominations. And like I said, I think there are some movies that probably got left out a little bit. Which I mean, come on, hey, why is Anthony Mackie not getting nominated? Come on, what the hell? What the hell is this? Now we're gonna get into the section and the portion. Excuse me, had to take a little swig of movies I enjoyed this year. Um, yeah, I enjoyed this film. Again, I know there was a lot of criticism behind it, which in fact, funny enough, I talked about it at the beginning of this stream where it's like, I want to go see movies and then make a review on it and stuff. Captain America was one of them. But I think because yeah, you guys will see I have a couple slides up and ready to go. But I think, to be honest, I think it was a little bit of which again, he has no control over it. But I think the charisma and the charm of who Anthony Mackie's character is, Falcon, if you watched Winter Soldier, Civil War, the Avengers films, like Anthony Mackie is no slouch. He's a really good actor. And I think it was kind of a disservice to not make this a Falcon film. Because the funny thing is, like, they labeled this as a kind of this is like a Winter Soldier mixed with Black Panther kind of film. And like, there was no secret, what's the word that I'm, like, special ops kind of informant of like betrayal and secrecy and behind enemy lines, and like there was none of that. Like the film was very predictable in some certain elements. There were some moments, like for example when the Brainiac guy, which that's not his name even though I'm crossing DC characters over with Marvel characters, but like when the brain lettuce leaf headed guy is talking to Agent Ross and trying to talk him into getting angry, it was corny, and it's like, hey, what the hell are we doing? Which, if I mean, it does make sense because he takes enough pills to get some radiation and then Hulk out like that. I mean that like that's kind of cool. But I think with the promotion of, I mean, I like when films do that show don't tell kind of thing where if in none of the promotion material you knew that the Red Hulk was in this film, I think it would have been a little bit more entertaining. Just like how if in Thor Ragnarok there was no promotional um, hey, look who's in this film, the Hulk's in this film. Like I think it would have made the scene where we have the arena fight between Thor and Hulk just that much more like entertaining and stuff because like there's parts of me where if you have a movie that's going to just knock it out of the park, yes, I think a lot of and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon talked about this when they were talking about their movie that just came out. But a lot of the budget goes towards promotion. So like if you have a film that's $10 million, 5 million of it is already going towards promotion of, hey, come see my film. And I think there's parts of me, which this is a terrible, like, not a good business strategy, but there's parts of me that believe that even, like, if you have a movie that's going to be a winner, parts of me say that word of mouth is the best kind of promotion. And we're kind of seeing that with Iron Lung, for example, because it, it dominate is not the right word to say because I mean when we compare, okay, Iron Lung made 15 to 17 million, I believe, versus the Minecraft movie that made 313. Like no, these you cannot compare these two films. But I mean, if for example, if and again this is all before like because social media in a way has ruined it, but like think about throw it back to D23 Expo with Robert Dooney Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doom. Sorry, I said that way too fast. But if it was only word of mouth that he was there versus like the live stream of the chairs showing that hey, this film's gonna have 80 bajillion characters and it's gonna be like a 4-hour runtime or whatever. But if it was word of mouth of hey, the rumors of RDJ might come back and how the only promotional material would be just him holding the mask, and that is the only promotional material that you get. You don't get a trailer, you don't get teaser trailers, and that is it for, I mean, probably up until maybe a month and a half before release. And then even when you release a trailer, you don't give away too much. You just kind of give simple increments of the film without giving away too much. Parts of me think, hey, you saved probably over $100 million in promotional because you already got people talking about, hey, RDJ is going to probably be in this film. You keep the secret of, hey, the X-Men are going to be in this film. You keep the secret that Captain America is coming back. Like, you keep this stuff a secret to where you're only going to find out if you come watch the film. You see what I mean? But no, they don't ask me questions. Anyways, that's what I would have done. Like, so if I was doing if I was doing the Doom film, that's probably the way I would have rolled it out. But there's a lot of other reasons why they've had to do the media tour that they've done for that film anyways. So anyways, let's talk about Sinners, and let me give a little quick, I don't know, 2-3 sentence essay on why I liked it. I think Sinners was good because it kind of had a mix. There's something about films where we throw it back to a different time and era. And this isn't a joke about like, yeah, back when, because I mean, one of the main premises on why there's a haunting and stuff is because the barn was owned by a slave owner. No, that's not what like is enjoyable about this film. No, but something about like period pieces where were, I mean, even in the set design of like the type of cars that were driven, how you could see like technology not being, hey, because if they tried to make this in a more like modern way of like people holding iPhones and stuff and big city, it just doesn't, like, for example, when they go into town and one of their buddies, like, he shoots him and stuff, which, spoiler alert, it's one of the scenes in the film, because he's asking one of the girls to go do something, one of the childhood friends or whatever. But, like, if in one of those scenes when they just go to run to town and you see, like, a Buc-ee's and a Walmart in the background, that takes away from the film experience versus what we're trying to say of how, like, yeah, this is a period piece. We're trying to immerse you back into this old time and stuff, where I would say this film takes place during the Great Depression, if I'm being honest, around that time where, yeah, the KK was still kind of a big thing, the segregation in the South, because there's a few handful of scenes where you see some of that, but, and then again, a huge plot in the whole movie. Who owns the barn? Slave owners, and that's why it's haunted and cursed, but like, it's a cool period piece in that way. And then the machine gun scene, which I don't know if you can put a photo of a machine gun, but one of those scenes was pretty cool where Michael B. Jordan's character is walking him down. And I liked the complexity too of how both the brothers have different goals and aspirations in life. Where for me personally, like when you see them, because there are a few films for me that I've watched where the opening scene, you go, okay, here we go, like the main character, actor or actress, like they're commanding the scene, they're like all focus and attention, because obviously when you see the main character of a film, okay, this is the main character, this is the dude, we're going to root for them, we're going to cheer for them. In just the opening sequence of seeing Smoke and Stack, you can tell, okay, which one's good and which one has a little bit of a darker side to him, which, funny enough, they both have a little bit of good and bad in them as well, which I did like how they leaned into that, because, yeah, you're over here thinking, well, and then you can use color as well, red, blue, light, which if you want to tie it to Star Wars, red lightsabers versus blue lightsabers. Like the fact that both of them have a little bit of good in them and motivations to want to try to do the right thing, and then a little bit of evil. Like it's very compelling. And like also the memes, the freaking, like, which if I should have had them queued up and ready to go, but like I cannot tell you how many, like, the Haley Steinfeld memes of like Josh Allen and like all the sinners, because like there's the scene in the closet and stuff when she's spitting on him and shit, and it's like, Josh Allen, we need you to lock in, bro, this is the year the Bills win the Super Bowl. Like it just, yeah, which I think Haley Steinfeld did really good, which her not being nominated, I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, it was a good one. And then again, creepy, it's like, because you don't expect, it's creepy in the way of there are no overt jump scares to like spook you. It's slow burn, very suspenseful, and then all of a sudden after one of the people is turned and stuff, because that was another thing, is like you had to invite him in, or because that was part of the compelling story, which is what led to the final fiasco and battle, is one of the characters is like, get in here, you MFer, and like you see him turn his head and he's like, all right, because but like when the girl, I think it is Haley Steinfeld's character, when she gets kicked out or she gets pissed and decides to leave, she runs into him outside, and then she's walking away, and then all of a sudden you can see his glowing eyes, and then all of a sudden he whoop, like he leaps, and it's so like it. Oh my gosh, it was funny to hear the whole audience go like, because like you didn't expect him to jump and leap. So, anyways, those are my thoughts, 100% sort of on Sinners. Um, if I were to give a score, like something out of 10, 7.5, 8 out of 10, I think could be pretty fair. Um, but again, I haven't seen this film in, I think I saw it twice. I mean, it's been over a year, and this is as much as I can remember from the film. All right, we gotta talk about it because it's a big deal. Let's talk about the Minecraft movie. Now, why might you ask? Do I bring up the Minecraft movie? Well, here's why. Because out of all the blockbuster films and box office, this movie made the most. Did I look forward to this movie at all? No, absolutely not. I'll be honest. I think there are a lot of people where, with Hollywood movies, everybody's a little Jack Blacked out, where it's like, okay, we got a little bit of Jack Black fatigue. He's been in everything. But and having played Minecraft, there's parts of me where it's like, why the hell is it a live action? Like, you can make it an anime with how far they went out to make it like an animated film where it's half live action, half animation. It's just like, spend the extra budget to make the characters look like how the sheep did. Because, yeah, the sheep, the bee, the ghouls, the skeletons, the creepers, all of it, like, it looks fine. It actually looks really good, all things considered. But then with the live action, I was like, oh my gosh, not looking forward to this at all. But what kind of won me over is you have to watch, this is a film for kids. This is not a film for, like, if you're a movie buff where you need everything to be prim and pristine, like Interstellar or The Dark Knight or The Prestige, or which I just realized I named a whole bunch of Christopher Nolan movies. Let's throw in a little bit of Scorsese or Goodfellas with Joe Pesci or whatever, like other critically acclaimed films. But like, if you're one of those people, obviously no, this film's not going to be fun for you because you're going to look at it and be like, what the hell is this mockery? But it's a kid's film. And because it's a kid's film, that's where it's kind of dumb and enjoyable. Where, yeah, like Jack Black is hilarious as shit. And Jason Momoa is also hilarious as shit. And they have this weird bromance chemistry on screen where it's like, okay, this is actually stupidly funny. And the other thing, too, is you got to watch it with, like, the other thing that's enjoyable, too, is you got to watch it with your younger cousins or something. Because that's kind of like the Christmas spirit. That's what makes it a little bit more enjoyable, too, is like, if the kids are enjoying it, you see what I mean? Where it's like, oh, okay, this isn't the best film, but it's passable. So that's my thoughts on, the Minecraft movie. And again, I'm all for, if we're going to do nominations and we're going to do categories, because I think they're starting to get into a category, because at the Grammys there was a podcasting category, which, oh my gosh, it's just the times we're in now where everybody has a podcast and videos and whatever. But I mean, if we're going to get to that point where we're having podcast winners or streamer winners and stuff, then there's parts of me that go, yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do best superhero film. Let's do best budget under 100 million film, because oh my gosh, like, the inflation of budgets were absolutely ridiculous, where you look at some films and it's like, why? I mean, for me personally, because after, and again, like, I'm a fan of The Rock. I'm a fan of oh my gosh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Simmons. J.K. Simmons. Red one. You know, Chris Evans, The Rock, J.K. Simmons, Lucy Liu, and all of them, like, pretty respectable actors. And I'm a fan of a lot of their work. I mean, my favorite film of Simmons, either Whiplash or him as, you know, that cocktail. Give me Spider-Man. Give me some of them cocktail weenies. You know, J. Jonah Jameson. And I liked how he came back in No Way Home. But there is no reason that a Santa Claus movie should be costing $450 million. And so so there's parts of me where, yeah, if we're gonna do superhero or box office winners and awards, something makes me jokingly say, yeah, there should be an award. Let's throw in Godzilla minus one as well, because you look and you watch Godzilla minus one. Godzilla, it cost $10 million, and look at how fantastic the CGI was on that film. See what I mean? And so there's parts of me where it's like, we should, yes, reward auteurs, authors, directors, actors. You know, we should reward. And this isn't a victory lap either to do a circle jerk for Markiplier and him winning, but with how, I mean, he single-handedly, with the type of film that he made, like, I think it is cool where if another YouTuber, like, let's say, for example, Kai Cenat or iShowSpeed or Mr. Beast, or, like, I'm trying to think of a Queso. Okay, what if Queso or Moist Critical, Aiden Ross, I'm trying to think of other big YouTubers or Twitch or whatever. Like, if they were like, hey, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to set apart Theo Von. I'm also thinking of, because I made a comedy joke where it's like, yeah, if you get Drewski or Theo Von to get together and drop like $5 million on a comedy film, but it actually has a little bit of, there is some comedy in this, but there's a little bit of realism in, like, we're telling a compelling story. There's parts of me where if the acting's good enough, yeah, some people should be nominated for awards. But if it's got a compelling enough story of, like, you know, The Way Back, or, you know, Little Miss Sunshine or Beautiful Boy, where there's enough of a story there, but some comedy in it, and it being a cheap film where it's like, who the hell would have thought Drewski could have made a movie like this? You should get an award for, yeah, we were able to get this actor, film it, with principal photography, shooting, editing. We were able to get this film done in 3-4 months. And look at that. We looked at the final tally of the money and the budget that we spent, kept it under $5 million. We should be nominated for something. You see what I mean? Because I think, like, let me look at F1 here. I don't know how much money F1 costs to make. Like, it makes sense why F1 cost as much money as it did. 215, okay. 215 million. Movie budget. 200 million to over 300 million. Whoa. But we have production cost, company and distribution. Yeah. Because don't you got to buy licenses to show? Because I think this would be the same kind of numbers if we were to make a movie about the NFL or something. Because you can't just... Yeah. But yeah, production costs, production company and distribution, profitability, box office performance factor affecting cost. Yeah, so. Well, and the other reason why I really liked this film, and why a lot of people liked it too, this was the dude that made Top Gun Maverick. Budget 170 to 177. And again, it's the difference between flying Tom Cruise's planes and all that. And this was also during, I don't know if it was either Top Gun Maverick or one of the Mission Impossibles that Cruise filmed during 2020. I think it was a little bit of this as well. But again, like, this is the difference between Tom Cruise flying his own jets versus, and you see it in the F1 film, like there are actual F1 brands in the movie. So maybe that's a difference. Because again, yeah, 177 compared to 200. Yeah, that's 200 to 300. Yeah, that's like 40 to 80 million dollars just lying around, which is such a joke, man. I can't even imagine. And the fact that it came back with 1.49 billion dollar. Like, yeah, this movie was a moment in time, because it yeah this film kicked ass. Anyways, but yeah, I think, funny enough, yeah, if you can, because if I think, arguably, if you give, like, think about any young, hungry director, like in the business right now, if you give them $200 million to go make a film, I guarantee you they kick ass. I guarantee you they blow it all and they spend everything, because, they're like, oh, what the hell do we do with this money? But, I mean, yeah. Anyways, but I liked F1. Very compelling story. It kind of had not a Cars vibe to it. And I know that's super low-hanging fruit because it's a racer movie. But kind of the changing of the guard between Lightning McQueen and Doc Hudson. Like, this would be Doc, and then when you look, this would be Lightning McQueen. And, there is intrigue in a little bit of, like, for the fashion and the brands and the notoriety versus for the love of the game. And that is one thing that is very compelling throughout the whole thing, is there are moments when it's like, think about the very first, because for a lot of the first beginning parts of the movie, they're arguing who the lead guy is. I'm thinking about Iron Man 2 when Rhodey and Tony are fighting, like, you've got a big gun, you are not the big gun, I am the big gun. Like, they're arguing for who's the main guy in our team, and it takes the majority of the movie for them to come together as one team, which is very compelling. And kind of, yeah, his history and his background of, like, the injury and all the accolades that he has had being a racer, and the stuff that he can pass on and teach, very compelling. And, like, he wins, and then there's the memes that we've seen of, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. No Country for Old Men, Benicio del Toro. Like, oh my gosh, we just won. Because the other fun thing too, kind of like a little bit of Ford versus Ferrari, where you don't expect him to, he's gonna win, but, like, you don't expect him to win. They're gonna go bankrupt or whatever, which adds the stakes a little bit higher. But it's a good, fun film if you like racing. And I'm gonna use the term, it's a dude flick. Okay, it's something where it's like, yeah, guess what? I'm gonna be watching on Father's Day every day from here on out, because it's one of those films where it's like, oh, Saturday night, just watched a college football game, got nothing better to do, time to watch F1. It's one of those films. It's really good. All right, let's move ahead now to another film that was pretty influential in the nerd culture aspect, even though it got trolled on a lot. Let's talk about James Gunn's Superman. Or Superman's James Gunn, just depending on who you ask, because of some of the promotion behind this film. It's like, okay, wait, who's this starring? No. I think, I'm going to be honest, I liked the film, but not in the way, like, if I were to compare it, because, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, like, when we talk about, okay, who's the best Iron Man, obviously it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. Like, There's only one Robert Downey Jr. Um, nerds in the nerd culture, they'll argue who the best Spider-Man is. We'll argue who the best Batman is. But, like, there's only been one Iron Man so far. To me, I think David Cornsweet did fine as Superman. Is he Henry Cavill? No, absolutely not. And arguably, I would say he gives off a really good Superman, but I would have really liked, with just where the DC was, I really would have liked to see Black Adam, with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and then Henry Cavill with Man of Steel. Like, I would have liked to see another Man of Steel. And I would have liked to see, honestly, Ben Affleck continue to be Batman. And this isn't me trying to sound like a Snyder bro and be like, yeah, the Justice League was the best. Because, no, look, I was there bored out of my mind when Brandon Whedon's came out. And then with the Snyder Cut, a handful of years later in 2021, when that 4-hour film released, guess what? I was bored for both of them. Okay, because it was kind of this is what this kind of film is going to be. I think there were parts of me where I feel like the DC got a little too aggressive and thought they could catch up to Marvel in half the time, and where'd that lead them? We know exactly where that led them. It led them to a situation where we have to recast. Now, from recent DC movies, yeah, he's pretty good Lex Luthor. Very compelling, which, by the way, I think he should have been nominated for a couple things with Nosferatu. That's just me being honest. He was not, though. But I think David Cornsweet and him had there's a good... Chemistry is a weird term to use because it's like, no, not every... But, like, was it as good as Heath Ledger and Christian Bale with Batman and Joker? No, but there was still enough where they're not phoning it in, where it's like, oh my gosh, we gotta do something. Where there's no rebuttal. These two aren't building off of each other and bringing out the best of each other. But I will say, the thing that I ended up having a problem with the most with this Superman, not only kind of like the lead up to it and all the other extra BS that wasn't even involved in the movie, but there's not a lot of Superman in this film. It's really weird to say because this is a super, but I think, call me old fashioned, the MCU started with Iron Man. In the Iron Man movie, you didn't have Captain America and Black Panther and Thor and Hulk. You just had Iron Man. And I think that, if you want to start something, look at Man of Steel, for example. Man of Steel didn't have Green Lantern, didn't have Batman, didn't have any extra characters. It was just about Superman. It was about Krypton getting destroyed. It was about him growing up and stuff, being that, the American farm boy, which there were scenes that were very compelling where, he gave that good performance. I've proven, I'm human just like everybody else. Well, the thing where I'm like, is this film was very stuffed. And I liked the pocket dimension element to this film as well. There were very unique idea that I haven't seen in any Superman film recently. The one where I can think of a pocket dimension is the ending of Reeves, where, he puts Zod in the pyramid thing and it flies away with the 80s CGI and stuff, which is awful by today's standards. But again, this was at the time, so it was the best that they could do with. But anyways, so the pocket dimension idea was really good. I was fine with Crypto being in the film. We know exactly why Crypto was in the film. Fast forward exactly why Grogu is going to be in the Mandalorian film. It's to, attract the ladies, have them, oh, look at Baby Yoda, come to the film, But I think there's parts of me that they could have had, because a lot of people didn't like the aspect of it. I thought the, Clark Kent and Lois Lane aspect to this film was actually pretty good. Now, were there a couple scenes where it's like, whoa, now they're just macking on each other? Yeah, there was a little bit of that. But, I mean, this is what Superman is. Duh. But, like, I feel like there could have been a lot more of that versus, okay, we need to show Hawk Girl, we need to show Green Lantern, we need to show Mr. Terrific, we need to show Lex Luthor's psycho ex-girlfriend, we need to show Billy. Like, there were a lot of characters. This movie was really stuffed. Still good, but I'm interested to see what the film could have been without all the extra characters, because at the end of the day, this is still a Superman film, and he should have been the main character. And there are parts of the film where it didn't feel like he was the main character, and there are some parts where Mr. Terrific was the big badass, and there are parts where it's like he was, like he captured the film the most. Like his scenes where he was taking control and leading Lois Lane, those were some of the best moments in the film. And then the fact that like we had the anti-Superman, I can't remember the reverse. Anyways, okay, let's talk about Fantastic Four. Let me move on. Here's another film. I was super hyped about this film, and then we had the female Silver Surfer. Okay, next, no. Back to it. Let me talk about the Fantastic Four. We have not had a good Fantastic Four film ever. The 2000s ones were, they were fine. I think parts of me with this Fantastic Four in particular, one thing I like, the uniforms were amazing. I think Ben was very accurate. He looked like the Thing. He didn't look like Fan Four Sticks, the Thing, and he didn't look like a big clobbering buffoon, in the 2000s edition. Like, this is very comic book accurate. Like, it looks good. It doesn't look cheap at all. Like, it looks like money well spent towards the budget, towards this film. Would have loved to see this. I liked how Joseph Quinn was Johnny Storm. The thing that I'm a little like, little too late. And the only reason why I say this is I really think John Krasinski would have been a good Mr. Fantastic. Like, I really liked the hype, because right after Infinity War, if y'all remember, back in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, this Fantastic Four film has been in pre-production since probably Civil War, and it's been talked about and rumored for forever, basically. And like, after A Quiet Place with Emily Blunt and Infinity War, everybody was talking about how, hey, you know what? Oh, John Krasinski's also in A Quiet Place. People fan casted those two to be Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, and I was totally on board. Do I know why it didn't happen? Actually, no. Like, I don't. They probably got scrapped along with a lot of other projects and stuff at the end of Phase 4 after Endgame ended. But that, and then you also look at Mahershala Ali's Blade, because that was another thing that's been talked about forever. Tom Hardy's Venom coming over into Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, there were a lot of things that the MCU should have been and should have happened. And one thing I feel with the Fantastic Four is they should have made that film 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I think it would have been cool to have, let's go, okay, we have Fantastic Four First Steps right after No Way Home, and we can have the introduction to the X-Men and the next phase of like the multiverse be right after Far From Home, and then that's what 2019 and 2020 could have been. And then, yeah, it's not how it went. So it is what it is. All right, next film to talk about. Let's talk about Fire and Ash. All I know this movie because of this meme. Um, I didn't watch. I'll be real. I didn't see this film. I'm I This is the only image that I know of this film. I had like it's one of those films that came and went. I was very like again it I don't know. There's parts of me where if a film, cuz the 2008 version, I mean, highest grossing film of all time. James Cameron can make really good films. There's parts of me where like if I made a movie tomorrow, I if I don't have another movie in the works or going within a 3-year window, 4-year window, like unless I'm doing George Lucas style where yeah, we're gonna wait for baby Anakin to grow up to be Hayden Christensen because that was originally the idea. Like it's kind of cool to see that that's what they wanted to do with the prequels is they wanted to watch Jake Lloyd grow up and be Anakin Skywalker, but maybe they just had to speed it up, which is why it ended up being Hayden Christensen, which it worked out because Hayden Christensen, despite the critics and whatever that he's a damn good actor. Okay. Um, Anyways, I think what was I saying? Oh, but if you don't have parts of me, it's like if you don't have like you look at Percy. I was about to say Percy Jackson. Peter Jackson. You look at Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. There's parts of me where it's like if you want to make a trilogy or a quadrilogy or whatever, parts of me feel like you shouldn't make one movie, wait 15 plus years and then make another one. And that's my only gripe, I'd say, with Avatar is I remember it was like we've been talking about as much as we've talking about a Fantastic Four film coming out. I remember people talking about a new Avatar film coming out around the same time as we're thinking there's going to be a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4. There's going to be an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 3. Like, yeah, they've been talking about it forever. But anyways, all right, next film. Let's do 28 years later. This film, there's a lot of things in this film, and oh my gosh, I think the trailer alone for this film bought me in. But this film, and I've heard people talk about with like the new one coming out, you have to watch both simultaneously. And it's like, okay, you can look at it from that point of view, like kind of have a Dune aspect. Because if you're going to watch Dune, I will advise if you watch the first one, you need to watch the second one within a day or something. Don't go back to back because don't subject yourself to 8 hours of sci-fi Dune. But if you want to, sure, go ahead. But like Dune 1, I remember when I watched Dune 1, I was so effing bored because there's a lot of talking, but it's paid off in the second one. And this is why Duke of like anyways. So people were talking about that's how we should view 28 years later with number 1 and number 2. It was all right. Could it have done maybe with a little more loincloths and a little less Bringo cans? Maybe. But again, this is a zombie apocalypse. Maybe that's just weird. There's a lot of weird aspects. Also, there's a birth too, which it's like zombie it's like how the hell. But just don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Just consume next product. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Leonardo DiCaprio and the film that he was in this year. I think I'm not saying Leo lost his fastball at all. Um, Not a lot of people like this film. There were a lot of people that thought this film was bad, and I mean there were, yeah, there were moments in the film where it's like, oh, okay, what the hell are we doing? But um, I think the idea is good. Now, fast forward, do I think it wins any awards? We'll see. I don't think, with considering who DiCaprio is pitted up against this year in the best acting roles, I think it'd be hard for me to be like, yeah, he's probably gonna win. Hold on, let me look. Let me pull it up. Let me show you guys. I can't believe I closed out of it. Oops, my bad. My bad. There we go. With who he's up against in the category, I mean, you got Michael B. Jordan and Timothy Chalamet. Just with the films that they are, one battle after another is not the best film on this list. Marty Supreme and Sinners are better films, so I'm kind of like, he's probably not going to win it. And especially, and I'm going back to, I said it earlier, is with how many great films DiCaprio has been in. I mean, like, from even the early days of like What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Johnny Depp, and then The Great Gatsby, Titanic. If it took him all the way to freaking Revenant to finally win one, which I love how Honest Trailers makes a joke about it, where the dude literally needed to, eat parts of a live liver bear and get mauled by a bear, and, eat gross soup and bleed out and piss and shit all over himself to win an Oscar. It's like, then count me in, or something like that. He says a joke about it where it's like, literally, DiCaprio had to get ripped open and ripped apart to win this and stuff. And then funny enough, like, people talk about the historical inaccuracies of the film overall, and it's like, well, duh, this has a little bit of Hollywood sparkle to the film, duh. But it's funny. But yeah, if you compare this film to other works he's done, no. All right, Jacob Elordi, let's talk about Frankenstein. Again, I think I've already talked about it and mentioned it a little bit earlier in the stream. I think I really wish I would have known if this had a theatrical release. I only saw it when it was out on Netflix. I think Guillermo del Toro makes really good films. He's up there with a lot of them for films that are good. And I think when we were talking a little bit about Pattinson and the film trajectory, there's parts of me that feel like Elordi could be on kind of the same trajectory as Joseph Quinn or Robert Pattinson, in the ways of, if you look, and this is my own opinion, Gladiator 2 and Fantastic Four First Steps, they do not happen unless Joseph Quinn is casted as Eddie. Because I think if you look, let me go look here. I don't think, not Joseph Quinn Doja Cat, I could care less. Okay, so he was also in Warfare, which I did not see Warfare. There is oh man, the disrespect to freaking Stranger Things, known for A Quiet Place. No, he's not. Here we are. I'm trying to think what his first stuff was, because I've done this before. I've looked where he was. Game of Thrones. Okay. Maybe it was Game of Thrones or something. Yeah, I've done that because, or it was Les Mis or Game of Thrones or something. Because you watch and you go, where the hell did you, where are you from? And, but the, oh, this is a cool photo. Oh, this is a super cool photo. Look at this photo. I should have used this photo in my review of Stranger Things. That was a cool photo of Eddie. Anyways, I talked about, but there's parts of me where, like, Finn Wolfhard, Millie Bobby Brown, Noah Schnapp, Gaten Mazzarato, like the whole Stranger Things cast, the only ones that were like of the adults, Sean Astin and Winona Ryder, if you're a big Beetlejuice fan. But like we all know Sean Astin from, wouldn't you guess, Star Wars? No, I said that to trigger you guys, but the like yeah, Joe Keery and all of them, like their careers are taking off now, and they'll be able to get in other projects because of like the notoriety. But like there's parts of me where it's like, funny enough, like it is actually pretty impressive and cool that because of Stranger Things season 4 and how awesome Eddie Munson's character was and what he brought to the table with kind of refreshing the series and bringing it new life, that did lead to other films and projects that he was in. Because again, if Fantastic Four came out in 2018, 2019, he's not in it. And he's not... I mean, there's even talks now that Joe Keery is going to be like Nova in, whatever future MCU film wants to do a Nova movie. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But back to Frankenstein, because this was about Frankenstein. I have a feeling the same thing could be happening with him, where he was in this. He was in Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie, and I'm interested to see where his film catalogs go from here, just with the bigger and bigger projects that he gets involved in, because his other counterpart in the film as well, Oscar Isaac, I think Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor too, and he's been in very big projects. I mean, the MCU brought him on board to do Moon Knight, which we saw how that ended up, but like, I liked the character, and same with John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. I liked the characters of Poe, Finn, and Rey. Just with how it ended up, it's like, oh, damn, okay. But, like, I liked how they at least got some careers after that. Parts of me... Because, I mean, arguably from the original, the original 3... we would argue and say Harrison Ford had the best career, because like, dude was also, he was in American Graffiti first, but like, dude's freaking Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? Like, Mark Hamill's only Luke Skywalker. Now, animated fans of like Batman go, well, he's also the voice of the Joker, but like the other, I think Harrison Ford's also the Fugitive, but I don't remember which one. I think Fugitive came after. And then, damn, what are some other good films with Harrison Ford? Anyways, but I had a weird thought one time of like, out of this trio with John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and all them, which one is going to have the big career? Which one's going to be the Harrison Ford of the group? And it's starting to turn out to be Oscar Isaac, where I am seeing Oscar Isaac in a lot more projects than I am with Daisy Ridley and John Boyega. And I mean, a lot of it's probably personal preference too, on if they want to get back on the saddle and do more films. But like, I think Daisy Ridley is a good actress, and like the fact that we haven't seen her in a lot of other projects since is kind of a little unfortunate, because I mean, staying in like the Disney sphere, and even though we're switching from Star Wars to the MCU, it's a little bit of a stretch here, but like we have seen Michael B. Jordan in other films since Black Panther, and this is one of them. And like Sinners ain't the only one. So like that, I only brought that up because I'm talking about other, like for example, her most recent film is The Cleaning Lady. That doesn't. I want to see something else, you know. So, or I want to see something else in the way of go, if you're gonna go, yeah, go the Scarlett Johansson route. Like, how many amazing films has Scarlett Johansson been in outside of being Black Widow? You know what I mean? Or hell, even now that I'm thinking of it, he's not in the original trio, but Adam Driver, Logan Lucky, Marriage Story, a certain other film about yelling things up a driveway. Like, he, again, phenomenal actor. Anyways, okay, let's get back to one of the last films to talk about. Let's talk about Marty Supreme. I like Timothy Chalamet. I think he's a good actor. This film, I don't know why people didn't talk about it as much after it came out. It's kind of one of those things where film came out and it's like, okay, whatever. And I made a joke about how, it's like, oh, too bad. If this film came out a month earlier, maybe, it could have made the Oscar window and stuff. But I think there's parts of me where, like, I see Timothy Chalamet and I'm like, he does kind of have that Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gary Oldman, Matthew McConaughey, where, I mean, you've even heard it in some of his victory, acceptance speeches, talking about in the quest of greatness and trying to be a good actor. Like, I think he's a phenomenal actor. Like, again, with Dune. I thought Dune was boring as shit. But then just the way he portrayed and carried the character, I was like, hey, dude, this guy's the... And it's why, A Complete Unknown was a little bit more, okay, I can, we'll give this one a shot. Versus, I mean, any other films, it's like, no, I'm good. I'm not interested. Like, same with, look at Austin Butler, for example, with the Elvis movie. Like, a lot of these actors are starting to show, like, okay, here we go. We're making good films. We're making good movies, and it doesn't need to be, trying to think of other actors, or it's like, ugh, you again. Because I remember Tom Holland caught a lot of shit for being in a lot of films, which he even is now, being in the new Nolan movie. But anyways, guys, we are going to end this stream here. We've been streaming for about 2 hours. I know it was a late stream. I started super late, which I'm sorry about that. We were going to do... I wanted to do a gaming stream followed up. I wanted to do a movie stream, and I wanted to talk about movies, and then I wanted to lead from the movies into video games. But with how late the stream started and everything, we weren't able to do that. And so, anyways, we are going to end the stream here, though. I'm going to wrap up and give my thoughts on, the Oscars, and may the best team win. My thought is, I think there are a lot of good movies. If I'm going to compare it to... It's hard to compare it to... Because I'm thinking of this up on the spot. I don't actually have... But, like, if I could compare it to 2025 to, like, 2024, 2023, 2022... It's like, there's parts of me that go, yeah, which year was the best? Because there's parts of me where there were a lot of good movies, but I feel like there was a lot of other stuff left on the table, so anyways, but I would advise you, yeah, go see F1. You might like it. Go see Sinners. You might like it. If you're feeling stupid and you want to go, turn off your brain for a little bit, and laugh and watch a stupid film and say chicken jockey for the next month. That's the other thing too, is like the impact of just chicken jockey alone, where people were like, dude, if you throw one piece of popcorn, we're calling the cops. Like, just the cultural impact of that as well, I think, is another reason why you kind of. I know the Oscars is very prestigious, but it's one of those things where it's at least acknowledge the Minecraft movie. Because, I mean, I'll go look at. I think The Shape of Water won it in 2017, and then The Green Book won it in 2019. And again, they're two separate films, but it's like, dude, freaking Infinity Ward's better than both of those movies. But again, it's like, I'm coming from a superhero point of view, because, yeah, some films are really good, some films are, but it is comparing apples and oranges, because no, you can't compare the F1 film to One Battle After Another, or you can't compare Frankenstein to Marty Supreme, because they're not the same films. But when we get in a big hallway and we start to compare films, oh boy, here we go. Because it's like they're different films. Like I think, I don't know if it was like Film Threat or Screen Junkies but like they talked about how there should be, if we're gonna add more and add more and add more genres, because I think, for example, like, where it's like, and again, opinions, it's all subjective, where you look at horror films, it's like, yeah, Smile 2, scary as shit. But like, it's like some people might find that a little bit scarier than, I mean, Weapons. For example, Weapons that came out. Those two films, both of them, pretty freaky. And it's like, you can compare, okay, which one's scary? It's like, how can we compare those films and say that these films are better than Superman, when it's like, they're not even the same. They're not on the same floor. They're not even in the same ballpark. This is playing hockey versus playing badminton. Like two separate sports. And like, so there's parts of me where it's like, it'd be cool to see eventually if we get there where action, but we can't just throw action, because Captain America is action film. Sinners, Superman, they're all action films. But have horror, thriller, suspense thriller, medieval. I don't know what word you would use for medieval, but like, there's parts of me that think you could nominate Nosferatu as a medieval film. Period piece could probably be that category. I don't know, because I'm trying to, like, because then romance, because we're going to look in the future, Wuthering Heights is probably going to get nominated, but it's like, where did you put that film? For suspense as well, with survival, like 28 years later, where would you categorize that? Comedy, Minecraft movie. I think you would just have to throw superhero and just call the term superhero, where you could compare, yeah, Superman against Fantastic Four. But I don't know. And then sci-fi, you could have a sci-fi category where you're comparing the Dune movies to Avatar, because I mean, let's say that the Avengers Doomsday movie does knock it out of the ballpark and it hits a home run. It's not going to be nominated for anything. See what I mean? Or you look at Toy Story 5, you look at what other films are coming out this year. Holy shit, it's midnight. Sorry, people. We'll wrap it up. We got to wrap up this stream. I've been talking way too freaking much. So, movies that have come out so far already: Wuthering Heights, Ghost, Send Help, Iron Lung, Primate, 28 Years Later, Crime 101, Mercy, Solo Mio, and Greenland 2. So these are the top 10 so far already in box office. Domestic gross, Wuthering Heights has the most, a little shy of $60 million. 20 million behind it in number 4, Iron Lung, which is pretty fun. But let me look here. The Internship? No. The Rip. There's The Rip with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Okay. Mercy. Trying to look and see. Super Mario Galaxy movie, which that film very well could make $1 billion. The Mummy, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Michael, the Michael Jackson film, which I'm calling crazy, but I would think he probably gets as many nominations as Timothy Chalamet for trying to play Bob Hart, or I was about to say Austin Matthews, Austin Butler for trying to play Elvis Presley. I'm mixing, never mix up Elvis and hockey. Shame. Yeah, Animal Farm, Mortal Kombat 2. Like it's like where Mandalorian and Grogu. Hello? Any good films here? Any good films? Hello? Anybody? He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. Oh, okay, you got me there. But then you follow it up immediately with Scary Movie 6, which is, comedy film. Jackass 5. What the hell are we doing? Oh, and then we get to July where we have The Odyssey, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't know. Why did I even bring this up? I could have sworn I had a point here. What? I had a point, but I lost it. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is there's parts of me when you look at some of these films where, maybe you split it up into some categories. Comedy. I would like to see comedy have a comeback and get some good comedies out there. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, guys. I will sign off here, but I thank you guys for watching and hanging out. Let me see if there's anything sports related to cover. There was a fight today. That sorta. It wasn't a fight, but a little shove. A little shove and some, some tension. Some emotions got high. Now, the biggest takeaway from this game and this score, I would say, is, dude, if the Spurs can beat the Thunder and the Pistons, Wemby might be getting one this year. Wemby might be getting one this year. We got free agency coming up too, which we'll talk about that later when we get into it, because we'll get there. And if I'm not mistaken, hockey starts back up. I got a meme coming for the NHL when it starts back up, because you just got to make memes. It's going to be a little spoiler alert. It's going to be I'm going to make memes on whichever team. The first one is an Austin Matthews meme. But let's say, for example, Brady Tkachuk goes back and then Ottawa Senators lose 3 in a row. I'm going to do a meme about him missing the USA team, where it's this is where I was successful, but then I had to go back to the Senators, and then because Yeah, the which is so that is what's funny is like you look at Tage Thompson, for example, with the Buffalo Sabres, or Werenski with Columbus. There are guys that, hey, you're on top of the world, you won gold. Doors that way, especially Miller, because he's the captain of the Rangers. Doors that way, bottom of the East, Rangers. They're waiting for you over there. So, anyways, all right, we're gonna end the stream here, though, guys. Thank you for watching, though. Thank you for listening to me ramble this long. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I did. But yeah, these are my thoughts on movies that came out this year in the great year of 2025. Yeah, we're gonna end the stream here, though, guys. But thank you for all the subs lately. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Should we make a goal? Try to reach 5K, baby? No, but we might be making some goals here or something. Anyways, but yeah, I thank you guys for hanging out. No need to ramble much on because it's midnight, but thank you guys for watching, even though it's super late. Sorry about that. I fell asleep after work, and it's like, whoops, it's 8 o'clock at night. I gotta get things ready. So, anyways, guys, I'll get out of here, but I thank you for being with me tonight. Catch you in the next one.